Sai Ram children, good morning. Welcome to online session. Today we will do English new voices. So keep your textbook ready, textbook and a pencil ready. Look at this picture. This picture is of a classroom. You can see here, this is a classroom. Teacher is teaching and the children are listening. They are paying attention, right? So this is a picture of a classroom. Look at this picture. This picture is of a playground. The children are playing. You can see the children are playing and they are happy. They are having fun. Look at this picture. Here also the children are playing. Which picture is of a picnic. The children have gone to a picnic and they are so happy. See, so happy and they are having fun. Okay, what about this picture? The children, they have gone for a picnic and this is a class photo. See, so happy they are, excited. Even we children, we eagerly wait for the picnic, when the picnic will be announced. So happy we are and we do the preparations, what the things we will do. We'll have fun all together. Now look at this picture. This picture, yes children, this picture is of a examination hall. See, the children, they are writing their exam. All are writing their, see, they are writing exam. And there is so much silence and no disturbance, right? Okay, now there was one child. He was not knowing. He read the paper, he read the questions, but he was not knowing the answers. So he thought what to do. He started writing and he started writing letter. And that was, he started writing an informal letter to the examiner. So today we will do new poem, poem 11, Dear Mr. Examiner, written by Gareth Owen. So today this poem we will do, Dear Mr. Examiner. A brief introduction about the poet, Gareth Owen. You can look at this photo, Gareth Owen. Gareth Owen, 1936 to 2002, was a Welsh poet, short story writer, novelist and playwright. He wrote mainly for children, although some of his plays are for grown-ups, including some for the radio. So Gareth Owen was a Welsh poet. Welsh means that is from Wales. He was from Wales. Wales is a country in United Kingdom. And he was a short story writer, novelist. Novels, you know, where you have the small short stories. And playwright, the one who writes play. So let's read the poem. Poem 11, Dear Mr. Examiner. Thank you so much for your questions. I have read them all carefully through. But there isn't a single one of them that I know the answer to. I have written my name as instructed, put the year, the month and the day. But after I had finished doing that, I had nothing further to say. So I thought I'd write you a letter fairly informally about what's going on in the classroom and what it's like to be me. Mandy has written 10 pages, but it's probably frightful guff. And Angela Smith is copying the answers of her cuff. Miss Quinlan is marking our homework. The clock keeps ticking away. For anyone not in the classroom, it's just another day. Mothers buying groceries, grandmothers drinking tea, unemployed men doing crosswords or watching crowing court on TV. The drizzle has finally stopped here. The sun's just started to shine. And in our back garden in Sefton Road, a housewife hangs shirts on the line. A class chatters by to play tennis. The cathedral clock has just pealed. A motor chugs steadily back and forth, mowing the hockey field. Miss Quentin's just seen what I have written. Her face is an absolute mask. Before she collects in the papers, I have one little favor to ask. I thought your questions were lovely. There's only myself to blame. But couldn't you give me something for writing the date and my name? Now we will have explanation in detail. Poem 11, Dear Mr. Examiner, written by Gareth Owen. Thank you so much for your questions. I have read them all carefully through. But there isn't a single one of them that I know the answer to. I have written my name as instructed, put the year, the month and the day. But after I had finished doing that, I had nothing further to say. So I thought I'd write you a letter fairly informally about what's going on in the classroom and what it's like to be me. Mandy has written 10 pages, but it's probably frightful guff, and Angela Smith is copying the answers of her cuff. The student, maybe a girl or a boy, is writing a letter to examiner. Now who is the examiner? Children, you know examiner is the person who, you can say, sets the paper, or who marks the questions, or who checks the ability of the person, that is ability or knowledge. So child is writing letter to examiner. First he is thanking the examiner for the questions, and he is saying, the child is saying he has read all the questions carefully, but he didn't know a single answer. He was not knowing a single answer, children. Imagine, not a single answer. And he is saying he or she. The student has written the name as instructed. You know children, we have to write the name. Then we write the date in the form of year, month and the day. And after writing that, the child is saying he has finished. Nothing further, he don't know anything, so nothing further he want to write or say in the paper. So he is writing letter to examiner. And let's see what he is writing. He is thinking now, he don't know anything. He is looking around. Maybe all are busy writing and everything is quiet, you can say, no disturbance, nothing. So he thought of writing a letter. Fairly informally. Fairly informally means it is, you can say, almost informally. Informally, you know, we have studied the letters, kind of letter, informal letter, which we write to our friends and relatives. So he is writing in that way. And that is almost informally, in the form of conversation. Otherwise, you know, when we write the letter to a teacher or examiner, it is formal letter. And we have format for that. But this and this, he is writing in informal way. Otherwise, in formal letter, we have subject, we have this. And what he is writing in that letter, children? You know, he is writing what is going on in the classroom. What is happening. So, we can say the observation of the child is sharp. He is looking around. And what is happening around, and maybe we will read further that outside the classroom what is going on, everything is writing in that letter. And what is saying, Mandy has written 10 pages. So imagine, child's observation is sharp, or so much constantly is observing, that he is saying Mandy has written, Mandy, one of the student, has written 10 pages. So you know, some children, you know, in the examination hall, when they don't write and all, they count how many supplements the others are taking. 10 pages. And that also he is knowing that probably frightful guff. Probably means chances are there. Most probably guff. Guff means nonsense. So this also the child is knowing. 10 pages. Probably guff, that is nonsense. And another child, Angela Smith, is copying. What she is copying? Answers from a cuff. Now what is cuff, children? Cuff is the, you can say, end part of a sleeve. When we wear the full sleeves dress or shirt, the end thick part is known as cuff. So from there she might have kept it or something like that she is copying. So further part of the poem we will do later on. Now we will have comprehension. Answer these questions with reference to the contest. And the question is, so I thought I would write you a letter fairly informally. So the question is, under what circumstances is the speaker writing the letter? Yes, children, what were the circumstances that he is writing the letter? So, yes, children, try to answer. He was not knowing the answers. So, he is looking around and what is happening, he is writing. So, let's see the answer. Question is, under what circumstances is the speaker writing the letter? The speaker is writing from the examination hall as he sits doing nothing. So he is writing the letter from examination hall. He, she, we don't know. The student who is writing or the speaker is a girl or a boy. So he or she sits doing nothing. Next question is, what aspect of the letter do you think makes it informal? Yes, children, why the letter was it informal? Because it was written in the form of conversation. And like how we write to our friends and relatives and all. Not like a formal letter where we have the format, the subject and everything we write. Yes, children, and formal letter we have the restrictions. So here, without following any restrictions and all, he has written the letter about what is happening in the classroom. So, answer. The letter is informal because it is written like a conversation between the author and the reader. Next question is, what do you think the recipient's reaction to the letter might have been like? Now, this is a personal response. So, response, yes, children, you have to give your response according to you. The recipient's reaction. The recipient, who is the recipient? The person who received the letter. And who is that? Examiner, right? So, what will be the reaction of the examiner? Maybe the examiner will get angry, furious on the child that he has not prepared anything, not written anything and all what he has written. And somewhere the examiner may think that his observation is sharp, quite, you can say his observation and what is happening he has written honestly. And yes, also mentioned his state of mind. So somewhere it will be a mixed reaction, right? So it is a personal response question. You have to write in your own words. Next is, answer these questions. First one, what does the student decide to do after admitting to not knowing any answers? So we know the children, that the child or the student, he read the questions. He read the questions, in fact you can say carefully. But then he was knowing that he didn't know the answers. He admitted he was knowing, and so what he decided? He decided to write the letter and write what is happening in the classroom, what is going on in the classroom and also outside the classroom. So the answer is, the student decides to write a letter to the teacher about the happenings in the classroom and his or her, you can say her or his state of mind. So what is going on in his mind, he is writing that also. And what is happening in the classroom, that also he is writing in the letter. Next question is, what does the student say about her classmates? So what he has said about his classmates? What he has said about the Mandy? Mandy has written 10 pages and that also guff. Guff means nonsense. Probably he might be knowing Mandy well, that what she has written and all. So is mentioning that. And children, they count how many supplements others are taking and all. Those who don't write the paper, those who don't anything, they do this work. Yes, it happens in the classroom, right? So he's mentioning about the Mandy, and also what about Angela Smith, that she is copying, and that also he is noticing she's copying of a cuff. Cuff, there's a thick part of that, you can say the end part of the sleeves, long sleeves of the shirt and all, the thick part near the wrist. So there she might have kept it or something. The student is observed and he is mentioning. Answer is, the student says that the Angela Smith is copying the answers of a cuff. He guesses that the 10 pages written by Mandy are probably nonsense. Next question is, state whether the given statement is true or false. The student read all the questions carefully. Yes, children. What is the answer? True or false? The student read the questions carefully. This also we know that carefully he read everything. So the answer is true. The answer is true. The child, that is the student, read all the questions carefully. So you can say it is true, right? And Mandy has written 2 pages. Yes, children, how many pages Mandy has written? 10 pages. So the answer is false. What you will write here? It is false. Next is, give 2 pairs of rhyming words from the poem. So 2 pairs you have to write. So one word I have given here, day. So which is a rhyming word with day? It is say. The answer is say. Rhyming word of day, say. And guff, cuff. The answer is cuff. So one word is given to you. So it will become now easy for you to write the rhyming words. So here we have finished first part of the poem, and we will continue in the next session. So thank you, children. Sai Ram.